Jonathan, always good to see you. First of all, right now it is believed that Iran has enough enriched uranium to make a bomb, or the elements of a bomb, within 2 to 3 months. This new deal, we're told, pushes that so-called breakout period to 1 year. But man, oh man, wasn't it supposed to prevent that and stop that capability in the first place?
Well, that's right, and that's what a lot of the critics are saying right now, is that all of the infrastructure that Iran has, the Fordo facility, the Arak facility, and many of the others are going to remain open. The centrifuges are simply going to be mothballed. They're not going to be dismantled or destroyed. And so what you have here is all of the infrastructure that will be able to go online after this 10-year deal sunsets, and that looks like the time that we're talking about. So it looks like we're merely forestalling an Iranian nuclear weapon if Iran decides to comply. And of course, we know that they've cheated all the way up to this point. It's no guarantee that they're going to even hew to this agreement.
Well, they say they are taking that Fordo underground center in Qom, which apparently can't be bombed by a bunker busting bombs. They're making that a research center. They're diluting their enriched uranium they have so it can't be made into a feasible material for a nuclear weapon. But, like, what about Parchin and UN inspections? The Parchin military facility, that's been off limits to the UN inspectors since at least 2005. How do we know Iran, under this deal, just won't say, like they've been saying about Parchin, well, has nothing to do with nuclear facilities, you don't have to go there, and they won't cheat and lie and hide stuff from us in the first place?
Well, Eric, you're asking exactly the right questions. And, you know, according to what we saw from what was announced out of Switzerland and then again on the White House lawn, you know, what they're saying is that we're going to be able to go in, there will be intrusive inspections, but we don't know what that regime is going to look like. And we are being told that we're just going to have to trust the White House as they negotiate this over the next 3 months. Of course, that's making Congress very nervous, and so that's why we're beginning to hear from Capitol Hill that they may be ready to take other measures.
Well, Capitol Hill, they may have a vote on April 14th. I mean, what happens if they do vote past that and it goes to the president's desk and he vetoes it?
Well, I think there is a battle that's going to take place, and we've got essentially 2 pieces of legislation right now that are working their way through the Hill. One would be Kirk-Menendez, and that would be sanctions in waiting. Essentially, as soon as a deal is not made by the deadline, Congress may swoop in and impose sanctions. And the other one is Corker-Menendez, which would be legislation that would demand that Congress gets an opportunity to review this deal, to give it 60 days before sanctions would be lifted, and ultimately with Congress having the opportunity to give an up or down vote on what will essentially be a tough battle.
Yeah, and certainly it's not just Congress or the president who weighs in on this, also the Supreme Leader, you know, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. I mean, we have not yet heard from him about this deal, although you must assume that he supports it if indeed, you know, we're negotiating it. But take a look at what the leading Iranian opposition group says. The National Council of Resistance of Iran, its leader, Maryam Rajavi, she calls this whole thing a statement of generalities. A statement of generalities lacking Khamenei's signature and official approval will never block the path to the regime obtaining nuclear weapons. Compelling the regime to abide by United Nations Security Council resolutions is simply the only way to prevent the mullahs from obtaining nuclear weapons. And, Jonathan, number one, this deal throws the UN under the bus because it violates 6 UN resolutions that told them not to and stop enriching, which they are capable of having and have the ability to have under that. And the National Council of Resistance of Iran this afternoon says there are at least 10 conflicts between the Persian and the English translations of the deal. So how do they, you know, sort all this out? It sounds like it's a switch and bait or a used car salesman or something.
Well, look, I think a lot of this, we're just going to have to wait and see. The devil is going to be in the details. Again, we've got 3 months to find out whether the U.S. and Iran actually agrees and whether the Supreme Leader is willing to back this deal. In the meantime, the Israeli press is indicating that there are 6 major differences ranging from sanctions relief to what will actually be dismantled. So there's a lot out there right now. And the thing that I'm watching is that Javad Zarif, the chief negotiator for the Iranians, has been crowing all day today about how this is a victory for Iran, a capitulation by the United States, that sanctions are already imploding. So the Iranians truly believe they've gotten the best of us, and that really conflicts with the messaging out of the White House right now that we have just made a terrific deal.
Yeah, and meanwhile, they had been chanting death to America among their supporters. That's on the list of the state sponsor of nations for terrorism. They have not renounced that, and they have not renounced the continued apparent calls for the destruction of Israel. So we'll see how this plays out through June, when they say there will be, hopefully they think, that final agreement. Jonathan Schanzer of the Foundation of Defense of Democracies, thank you for joining us this Saturday afternoon.
Thank you.